So this is a Bible I've been looking to add to my collection. It's the People's Parralel Bible. What I'm told is this cover is not original to the Bible. It was recovered. And I saw several that looked like this. So I'm not sure how true that is. So this is the KJV and the NLT. This is a note to readers. And this is a Tyndale Bible verse finder. And you'll see all kinds of different subjects. So if you're trying to gather up verses, this might be an additional place you can look for verses on different subjects. So all kinds of different subjects I'm going to skip through. There's also in this an index to Bible promises. So when you feel abandoned, afraid, different things, and there's Bible verses on the side, and it even gives you the page number that it's found on. And then there's a 365-day reading program. And it says a guided tour of the Bible, which means that not every verse is included. Like here you go from chapter 4 up to chapter 6 and only part of chapter 6 of the book of Genesis. So that's these pages. And then here is the epistle dedicatory for the Authorized King James Version. And then the introduction to the New Living Translation. Like it has translation issues. And then who was on the team for the New Living Translation. That's the end of that. And then here's the Old Testament. So how this works is you have the book of Genesis, and on this side you have the King James Version, and on this side you have the New Living Translation. And what I liked about this one compared to other ones that I've seen online is that verse 1 is pretty much next to verse 1, and verse 4 is next to verse 4, through verse 14 is next to verse 14. And so the start of chapter 2 starts on the same page. And so like on this, you can see chapter 28, chapter 29. They're lined up really nicely. This one is a used copy that I found, and so it is a little bit bent up. But my thought in buying this actually is instead of doing so much translation work in my study Bible, doing it in this one. The problem with this is there isn't a huge amount of margin space for notes. And my plan had been to have the King James Version and then write the NLT with it, either to the side or on top of each of the lines, and the NLT, and then maybe something like the ESV or the NIV, some other translation on this side with this translation. And so I would end up with 4 translations on this. The problem is that the margins are so small. I decided not to send it back because I thought this would be helpful anyways because of the fact that they're lined up so well. So I'll show you this section. This is Psalms. And so in the NLT, it looks kind of like a poetic section that I've seen, whereas the KJV is more of the square area. They didn't stretch this out to line up with 18. So it's not perfect. In my opinion, you'd have verse 1, verse 2, like they would be completely lined up. But as I mentioned before, I feel like this one does it a little bit better than other versions that I've seen online. And then here is the end of the Old Testament, and then into the New Testament, and then starting Matthew. And again, it does not line up. And then all the way through to the end of Revelation. And then table of weights and measures, and that is the end of the book. So some spots are lined up, and I guess it's more happenstance when they do line up. So I'm a little disappointed about those things. And so if I was going to create the perfect parallel Bible, the verses would be lined up, and there would be the extra room for margin. So a disappointment. Another idea that I've had to accomplish this same thing is to take a note-taking Bible that's a single column and then just write alternate translations, like have a KJV Bible with the NKJV on top and then an alternate translation to the side. So you're seeing all of it together in one Bible. So that's another option to do. So this is the Tyndale People's Parralel Bible, the New Living Translation, and the King James Version. And as always, be well and God bless.